Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Gus and Dave Show. Gus, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you?
I am also doing great, man. I'm excited for this episode. We've got I think we're just going to get right into it, man. We've got a great guest with us. The guest with us today is Chris Plummer with Town and Country Movers. And the reason I'm so excited is I think that moving is something that everybody can kind of relate to, right? And I don't think there's anybody better in the business than Chris. So I'm glad to have him with us today.
Absolutely. We're so excited to have you here, Chris. Thank you so much for carving the time out and being with us today. If you don't mind, Chris, take a few minutes. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, how you got with Town and Country, how long you've been with them, all that good stuff.
Well, thanks for having me. I grew my facial hair out to be here today.
You match now, right?
Yes, we all match. Mine's a little more gray. So my journey at Town and Country started in 1985. I just wanted a summer job, and here I am 36 years later. So I've done everything you can imagine, from driving the trucks, driving the forklift, packing, crating, storage, kind of everything. Local, long distance. I was the first person at Town and Country to go to Florida. First person to drive to California. We were so new going to California that when I drove to California, I literally had to get out of the truck at different states as we entered states we'd never gone into before to get our rights to travel through those states.
No kidding.
Wow.
No kidding. Yeah.
I imagine that process is a little bit different now, right? Now that
The internet?
Well, there's that, right?
I've been doing this so long. There was no internet. There were no cell phones. We had to go to pay phones. And we went to a new neighborhood in a different state. Like, we were in Florida in a new neighborhood, and we couldn't find the address. We used to call the fire station or the police station to find out where we were going, and sometimes they didn't even have it on a map yet.
That's
So
crazy.
did you have to stop at payphones and
Pay
do the whole
phones.
thing?
Yep.
Love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Our kids don't even know what that is nowadays.
I've seen some, like somebody will post one randomly on Facebook or something, and they're like, "Look at this relic that I found." Right? I don't even think the ones that are in existence even work anymore.
Right.
Or paper map. We had to use maps, like old school maps.
That's
crazy.
You'd have to pull over or, put it up on the steering wheel while you're driving, which is frowned upon. So
Right.
Safety.
yeah.
It's like being on your phone while driving.
That's
now.
right. That's right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, again, thank you for being with us. This is such an exciting topic because, for the average homeowner, when you talk about moving, they really you don't hear about moving too much. Like, that topic doesn't come up so much. And I feel like most people, when it comes to moving, all they think about, or the first thought at least, first impression is, okay, I'll go get a U-Haul, buy a pizza and invite a couple of friends to help us, load the boxes into the truck.
That's right.
So what makes you guys so special? Why should someone hire a professional mover as opposed to, just invite a couple of friends over for a pizza?
The beer and pizza rental truck thing goes once or twice. After that, people realize, oh, this doesn't work at all. I've even had friends that rented trucks, and they ask for advice on how to load the truck, and they go across the country like, well, we'll just do it ourselves. And then they hit a black ice on the road or something. They're like, we should have hired you guys. We try to make it as easy as we can for people. We offer many different levels of service. We can do a full-blown pack and move where you don't lift a finger. And there are people that do want that service. They don't want anything. They even go out of the way. They hire move management people to come in and organize things before, and we'll work with that. Other people want to do all their own packing, and people sometimes want to save money, and we offer advice on how to save money on packing, what to take in the car. Some people think they're going to save money moving the clothes. The clothes we do for free. Wardrobe boxes for the hanging clothes. People want to take stuff in the car. We recommend what they should take and how to save money, like pictures and lamps. There's a lot of different levels of service that we do provide for people.
And I got to imagine that those that are, renting U-Hauls and stuff like that, I mean, there's a place for that, right? I mean, you think about like a college kid, they don't have much stuff, but as people grow and families grow and things like that, I mean, the need for a service like yours has got to be growing and growing and growing, right?
Especially the area that we service, being close to Washington, D.C., most of the homes are, 1,800, 2,000 square feet and above.
Right.
We do move one-bedroom apartments, and we move 8-bedroom homes. And, the people with the one-bedroom apartment are just as happy to have it as the larger homes. We have one person we moved 5 times in the last 5 years. She moves every year, and she only has a one-bedroom apartment, but it is pretty full. And each year she's actually hired us to do more service. So the first time we just moved her, then the second time we packed her artwork and we moved her. This last move we just did about 2 weeks ago, she asked us to do everything. All right, just pack it all. Pack my dishes, pack my art, pack it all, and can I get you to unpack? That's a service most people don't go with, but
Right.
she's very busy now, and she's like, I don't have time. Just pack me, move me, unpack me, and we did the whole thing. Little move, but she was a lot of work for us.
When it comes to moving, I mean, outside of price, obviously, what are people's biggest concern when it comes to hiring a moving company?
Cost.
That's it. That's the biggest thing.
Cost and damage.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want their stuff damaged, but they're also always very concerned about the cost. Well, that's the first thing is everyone's like, well, wow, this is really expensive. Before I came here, I was just at a place. I was over in Leisure World, and someone that's been there for about 15 years, when he moved in, they bought a lot of new furniture. Mm-hmm. Well, now they're moving everything. So this first time, they're moving everything at one time. They sold their house. They sold a lot of the furniture with the house. Now they're moving everything at one time. Mm-hmm. And he'd already gotten a couple lessons, so he was a little prepared, but he even admitted, he's like, I just didn't realize it was going to be this much. He's moving down to Florida, so it's an out-of-state move.
Right.
So there's, that always costs a little bit more anyways. But also damage. People, everything is precious, and we treat every house the same, whether it's the one-bedroom house or the five-bedroom, one-bedroom apartment, five-bedroom house. We wrap all the furniture. We shrink wrap the upholstered furniture. We blanket wrap the wood furniture. We put floor protection down. We treat the old house as well as the new house the same. So you being in real estate, know all about escrow.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of our guys are homeowners, so they've bought and sold homes. So they know that there's money sitting in the bank waiting after they move.
Right.
They want to get that money back. They don't want to hear from the new owner, hey, your movers damaged my floors.
Right.
And, I'm keeping $3,000 from the escrow to fix the floors. So
and a lot of times that comes up at like at a final walkthrough, and they know, right away. So hopefully that can be dealt with. But you're right. They want their money. They want to be done. They want to move on,
Right.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with like calling a third party, mover says we didn't do it, someone else did it. And,
Right.
So instead of having to worry about that, just don't let it happen, period.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And do you feel like your company does, without naming names of other companies, obviously, do you feel like your company does a better job than other companies? Or you guys, I mean, obviously you've got pride in where you work because you've been there for so long, right? So obviously taking that into consideration, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we've worked at being one of the top in the area, mm-hmm. and there are other moving companies that are very good, and I'll be honest, there are bad moving companies, but might have a really good crew.
Sure.
I have a friend that works for a company. He doesn't drive, so he works at one that's close to him that he can walk to work, and he's a great mover. He was with us for 20 years.
Wow.
But he moved, but the company he works for is not that great, but his crew is amazing. Mm-hmm. So if you get his crew, you should get a really good service. You just never know which crew you're going to get.
That's fair.
And that's one thing about Town and Country, it's really nice. We have a very low turnover. So we have people that will request the crews by name.
Oh, wow.
And so, so they'll say, I want to get Ronnie's crew. I want to get Javier's crew. I want to get Jose's crew. All these guys are great, but they've worked with some other family that's friends with the family we're moving. And they say, get Town and Country, and you got to ask for Javier. You got to ask for Jose. You got to ask for Mario. They ask for them by name. So not only are they getting the same company, but they're getting the same crew that their friend referred them to the company for.
It's crazy. That speaks to the reputation. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's loyalty too from the employees as well.
For sure.
That's awesome. So what are some of the things that separate you guys?
Well, what we just talked about, the loyalty. So we have a very low turnover. I didn't plan on this. I was 17 years old. It's 1985. Crazy. I was going to LA or New York. My goal was to
You were 17 in 1985. I was 4.
So was I.
I'm old, okay? I got gray hair. Gray beard, gray hair.
It's not old. You're seasoned. You're experienced. It's not old.
But,
right.
So when I came to Town and Country, I thought I'd be here for a few months. I was going to move to LA or New York. That obviously didn't happen. But Town and Country at that time we only had 6 trucks, and then we started to grow. And at the time we were a local mover. We only did Gaithersburg to Rockville, Rockville to DC, DC to Vienna, Virginia. And little by little, we started to grow, and we started to go up and down the East Coast. People that we'd moved locally bought a second home in Florida, and we kept getting the requests for a move to Florida, and we finally jumped in both feet, and we got our rights and we got our rights to go. We started with the East Coast, and we expanded out to the West Coast. We're now international. We do everything, and it's always been very controlled growth. It's we went from 5 trucks to 8 trucks to 7 trucks to 10 trucks. So, you built a company. You built from within. When I was a helper and became eventually became a driver. I developed a crew, and then the owner of the company, his name's Kevin, he would take one of my top guys off my crew and give him a truck, and that's how we kind of built. So the drivers kind of train the crew to become leaders, and then they get their own truck, and then they become leaders, and they train a crew.
Right.
And so it's always been from within. Almost everybody at Town and Country started in the field, started as a mover, and worked their way into different positions, whether it's quality control, dispatch, upper management. Everyone started kind of where I started,
That's
sweeping
crazy.
floors.
That speaks so much to the culture of that organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. So you talked about, what differentiates you guys. What are some of the things that homeowners should be looking for when hiring? What are some of the things or best practices or things, red flags, right? What are some of the red flags in the industry that should be looking out for?
That's a good question.
Well, when you're getting most people get 3 or 4 estimates. And so when you're getting your estimates, you want to see that they should be similar. If you have 2 estimates that are, say, $4,500 for a move, and you have one that's $1,500, it's great. $1,500. I think I want to go with that company, but maybe you might want to say, why are they $1,500? What am I missing here? And you might want to do a little bit more research. There's in this area alone, you got Better Business Bureau, you got the Consumer Checkbook, you got Facebook, there, Yelp, and Angie. There's so many ways to do your extra homework, and if you do research on us, you'll find across the board we check all the boxes.
So on that topic, what's different about that $1,500 company?
It's probably not going to be $1,500 at the end. So about a year ago, there was this was on the news. The guy was suing the moving company. They'd given him this low estimate and came back and wanted more money, but they wouldn't deliver the furniture until they got paid up front. And this is legal. They were able to do this.
Oh, wow.
They kept the furniture, and they said, pay us the $3,600 or we're not releasing your goods. And while you're not paying us, we're going to start charging you storage.
Wow.
And it went to court. And this was in the state of Maryland. The state of Maryland's an unregulated state. So you can actually do this, and it's terrible. But you can do this. And this went to court, and the judge, ruled in favor of the moving company.
Sure.
And at some point, I can't remember all this. I saw it was on Channel 7 News or one of the 5. And at one point, there was a point where the judge had made a statement saying, you had these other 2 estimates, so you should have known there was something here. Right. This was buyer beware.
Buyer beware, right. Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's nothing I can do for you. You need to pay this company their money to get your furniture back.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
it just goes back to the saying that we always talk about, right? Like good isn't cheap and cheap isn't good.
Not always, yeah.
Right.
That's always the case. It's in every trade, every industry. It's amazing.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact saying. It's like fast, cheap, or good. You can get either two. But
Two
you
of
can't
the
get all
three.
of
That's
them.
right. That's right.
So-
That's right.
Absolutely.
Right.
What do you like most about what you do?
It's, the people. I mean, it sounds silly, but just helping people.
Absolutely.
There's nothing better than at the end of a job, getting the phone call or getting a text message or an email saying, "These guys were fantastic." I mean, we have people that send in photos of them hugging the crew at the end. We have people that actually tear up. We're the end game in a long process.
Right.
And you guys both are in the field, so you know what it's like. People, Dave, maybe you sell a house that they need a new kitchen. Gus, you go in and do the kitchen. And then while all this is happening, they're either in a rental home, they're in storage, or they were able to get a rent back. But then we come in after a very long process of buying and selling of a home. There's buyer's remorse sometimes. There's seller's remorse sometimes. There's someone in the family that didn't want to move, and there's a lot of emotions. And when you finally get the move done at the end of the day, when you get that smile, they light up, and they write the letter, about one of our guys or about the team that they had. That's pretty cool. And the other thing is just every day is different in this world. My mom worked at NIH for 39 years in the same office with the same lights over her desk, and I could never do that. I could never sit in an office. I can't sit in an office for 20 minutes without getting antsy. I love going from house to house and seeing people and meeting their family and seeing the different stuff. I mean, we get to see amazing art. We go into a house, we see Chagall's and Warhol's, and you see these pieces that some people have to go to a museum to see, and we see them right here in DC.
Speaking of that, so what's been the biggest move for you guys?
Well, we've done some really big office moves. One of the best
on the residential side.
Right.
on the residential side.
Who's the most famous person you've ever moved?
That you can disclose.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if I can name names, but I mean, there's a house. I mean, when you move a house that has a name, that's pretty cool.
Sure.
So we did a house called the Fessenden House, which is down in Washington D.C. And it was actually sold to the Kuwaitis, and it's now their embassy. So
wow.
to think that someone lived in a house that was so nice that it eventually became an embassy, that's pretty
awesome.
Special.
Maybe my house can be an embassy. No, it can't. No. Right in Gaithersburg, right? Yeah.
Right. Sometimes it's just really neat to hear what people do, how they got to the level of life that they got to. So we moved a house off of River Road that is next to Dan Schneider's house, and so when you talk, I was a mover back then, and we got to know the people pretty well, and you're like, wow, this is a great house on the Potomac River. It's beautiful, and and you get to talk to them, and they had a lot of music gear in their house, and so are you a musician? And it turns out that they were songwriters, but they wrote jingles. They wrote jingles for like Safeway
commercials
and
and
Giant.
stuff.
Yes.
Wow,
And
that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, and they had this music studio in their house where he would work out his jingles, and that excelled and got him to this level of life that you would just never believe from writing jingles. But
So crazy.
That's awesome.
It is. So
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we get to see all kinds of stuff. So that's the cool part of the
Yeah.
job.
So the main reason why we do this is to really provide homeowners as much value as possible when it comes to real estate, home improvement. Obviously, what you guys do is what you guys do, and this topic is perfect for what we discuss on this channel. So, is there something else that you can share with the listeners or the viewers that can bring them that much more value, or something that they should be looking out for, or anything that you want to share that can be of value to them?
Well, one of the things we did at Town and Country, similar to you, is we have a YouTube channel, and on our YouTube channel we offer packing tips and how to pack boxes. So a lot of people can pack themselves, they can't move themselves. Again, getting back to the cost part, one of the biggest questions after you do the estimate, they do want to know, well, where can I save money? Is there anything you can do to help me save some money? And we always say, well, anything you pack, we don't pack it, you don't have to pay us. So you do as much packing. And some of the hardest things to pack are paintings and lamps. Mm-hmm. And even trying to explain it to people after 35 years, it's always not easy. So we've developed a YouTube channel where we have packing videos on paintings, lamps, books.
That's great.
So we offer that. We offer used boxes at no cost. When we have them, it's feast or famine. We don't always have the used boxes, but when we have them, we do give them away at no charge. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, and people can buy boxes from us. We deliver them so they can do their own packing. So, when it comes to moving out of state, there's really not a lot people can do to save money on that. It's based on weight. And so if they're not married to something in their house, if they've thought for the last 5 years, why do I have this?
Get rid of it.
Maybe that's the time to get rid of it.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Otherwise, we're going to pay. I've actually moved people's homes, and as a mover, at the end of the job, you're making the delivery, and you're offloading the truck, and you're walking into the house, and you can see the look on their face as you're walking in, and they're nodding their head and kind of shaking their head, and the next thing they say is, would you guys like that piece? They literally just paid us to load it on a truck, drive it somewhere, offload it, and now they're offering the sofa to one of the movers.
That's so funny.
They're like, we're not going to use that in this house. Maybe they could have done that before the move, but so.
Yeah, I guess you don't really know sometimes until you get there, right?
Yeah. Just go through all the stuff you have and make sure whatever you're moving is just something you're keeping.
Yeah.
Right.
That YouTube channel is good value, man. It's awesome that you guys provide that, and anybody can go on. It's basically free information for anybody that needs it. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and we've actually put it in all of our email signatures. So when we do an estimate, we email it to people. It has the link to our YouTube channel.
That's awesome.
And we really encourage people to go there. And it also answers other questions. People want to know, how do we ship cars? That's another thing we do. We ship cars.
Wow.
And so we have a YouTube video that explains the whole process of shipping the automobile, how it gets loaded on the truck, it gets inventoried correctly, and then gets delivered where it's going. So
that's so crazy.
Absolutely. Well, I can honestly say you guys have figured out the science of moving.
No question. No question.
Awesome. Chris, thank you so much for being with us today. For the viewers and listeners, thank you for being here. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Dave, obviously, and Chris. And Chris, speaking of reaching out, how can people reach you?
So Chris Plummer, if you go to the Town and Country website, we have, you can go to the page that has all of us listed. They can email me. They can call me on my cell. Do you guys put links at the end of these?
We do. Do you mind sharing your cell phone number?
Yeah.
What is it?
301-370-7933.
Call the man, guys. Call him.
What's your email?
cplummer at Town and Country Movers spelled out. So it's a long one.
Right.
Once you do it the first time, hopefully your email recognizes it.
That's right.
You don't have to type Town and Country Movers every time.
Right.
That's funny.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, again, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, guys, this wraps it up. Dave, anything else?
That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Good
See
to
you
see you.